Chronologically Gaming. This is the pre-show, where we're getting ready to play every video game in order of release. The most massive, amazing, crazy quest ever. We play every video game in order of release, starting all the way back in 1971, and we're currently in December 1982. And we got a great show tonight. Lots of games. Or at least trying to get as many games as I can. Last episode, I went even longer. I went for almost an hour, and that was like when I used to do videos way back in the very beginning. So at one point, we shortened the length to 30 minutes, and so I'm going to try to get through as many as I can for this episode, but we have a lot of games. Howdy, Brad. Welcome in. Welcome to December 1982 in gaming. Get your tape cassette player ready to play some games. Or cartridge, or 5 1/4 floppy disk. The 3.5 floppy disk has not been invented yet. We have real floppies right now. That floppy. Floppies that floppy. And we're going to see a game on that computer tonight. And on that computer tonight. So many home computer video games. No one can cover them all, and in a sense, we kind of haven't covered all of them, because there's just a lot. And if anyone wants to tell me which games we've missed or haven't seen along the way, go for it. I'll just keep adding more and more. I stumbled across an arcade game the other day that I had no idea existed. It was on MAME. I actually had it ready to play, but I didn't import it into Launchbox, so I didn't even realize it was missing. Yes, and all the size carts. The largest size cartridge we've seen so far is 16 kilopower. Kilopower. That's right. Cartridges are in kilobytes right now. It couldn't possibly get higher than that. We actually haven't seen any computer games at this point that hasn't had the requirement of you need 64K of RAM. Higher than that. The most video games needed for memory to run has been 64 kilobytes. And they can't get higher than that. 64 kilobytes is already too much. Oh, isn't Bagman fun? Yeah, I had never heard of it before this either. And to find out that Bagman was in the arcade and there was no ports to Bagman, unless you want to talk about fan games and people that did it themselves, but there's no official ports of Bagman, and it's a shame. It's a really fun game. And Rougian, yes, definitely. That's a really good one too. I couldn't believe it. It was doing things with shooters that I thought was going to happen, 83 or 84. So it was really refreshing to see it this early. So much fun. And I know we play every single video game or see every video game. Not every video game's a winner, but it is great whenever we come across a game that is surprising, that that's never been heard of, or it's not as well known. Oh yeah, the new Pac-Man? Yeah, Brian, that one looks really, really good. I just recently mastered Pac-Man on the Atari 2600, at least according to RetroAchievements. And when I saw that game, it made my eyes well up a little bit in tears, because it just looks too good on the Atari 2600. Or Atari 2600 Plus, if you want to get technical. But I'll keep pretending like we have no idea what's happening in the current world. I'm only in December 1982, and I only know the video games up to this point. And that means even the obscure ones that are on Japanese home computers. So much. There's too many games. And something that I'd like to know for everyone that's here on the live show, if anyone jumps into Discord and wants to help me with release dates, or correct release dates, or help me with the spreadsheet that we're breaking down every single game into the genre, category, and all that stuff. If there's mistakes or errors on there that need to be corrected, then let me know. Yes, it is. This is all a dream. Even though in every one of our broadcasts it shows the time and date in the top right corner anyway, so everyone knows exactly when we're filming this show. But we're going back in time anyway. All the way. Hopefully we got a better connection than last episode. We had a little bit of some jumps and skitters in there, but it looks like it's okay for right now. We're firing all cylinders. All right, it's showtime. Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. See every console, every home computer, every arcade game, and every handheld that we can emulate or play. Let's go traipsing around seeing the video games released in December 1982. We were last playing Jump Bug, released and ported first time for a home console. Let's see what our next game is. It's more for the Arcadia 2001 by Emerson. This is Jungler. That's right, another really good one. Let's see what the box looks like, or at least really good one in the arcades. We last saw this in the arcades in 1981 by Konami, and this one is done, or at least ported originally by Konami. I don't know if they did the port directly. UA Limited did this port. Konami right now, this would be the 39th video game that they've been involved in, we've seen so far on Chronologically Gaming. 18 games we've seen by Konami in the arcade, 3 for the PC 6001 in Japan, 1 game on the Atari home computer and Apple II, 2 games on the Intex Adventure Vision, 1 game on the Video Pack, 3 for the Puta, 2 games we've seen on the Sword M5, and 1 on the Sinclair ZX81. And this is the 4th time we've seen a Konami game on the Arcadia 2001 after Astro Invader, Turpin, and The End. Once again, these boxes, the scans are not very good. I can kind of tell it's a dragons fighting, you know, like looks like Chinese dragons on the cover, but it's not the best scan. It's a reconstructed box. We flip it over the back and gives us a couple screenshots based on the arcade game by Konami. Let's see how well this port fares considering the last one we just saw. What other artwork do we have for Jungler? Released here on the Arcadia 2001. This is the 32nd game we've seen on the Emerson Arcadia 2001, or whatever you called it in your region. There it is, the Arcadia 2001. This is the model that was released in North America, and that's why we named the system the Emerson Arcadia 2001. It's that number keypad. It's a system that's living in this era or generation of video gaming, but we're about to push to the next generation of video game consoles. So it's nearing the end of having a number pad for a console. I don't really want to make it that a bad thing, though, because in television has a number pad. It's pretty cool. I like that one, too. All right, so there we go. We got the cartridge. There's a picture of it. And it still doesn't do the game justice. The artwork for the box and for most of the stuff on the Arcadia 2001 has been like watercolor drawings, and they've been okay. I still really enjoy the stuff that Magnavox Odyssey brings out, and of course Atari and Intellivision. They know how to market some video games. Besides that, we have an example of the screenshot, and it doesn't look that promising. Let's pop in that cartridge and see what's going to happen when we play Jungler on the Arcadia 2001 by Konami, ported by UA Unlimited, and published by Emerson Radio Corporation in the beginning of December 1982. There it is, Konami. It's here. And that's right, Brian. It's a Snake game. It's everything. It's a combination of lots of games, just like we had seen in the arcades. I just want to see how good this port is compared to all the others. So the Arcadia 2001 is like the Atari 2600, where whenever you start it up, if you look at the top of the screen, I can switch the game modes. Game mode 2, game mode 3, and you can see it's changing the maze up for us. Oh man, love those colors, right? So we have all these different game options. I wasn't able to find a scan of the manual for this game, but we have 9 game options, and different games, and then we have game options. And the top right, it's changing the option when you're pushing the option button on your system. And so this has lots of variations and options, which is kind of cool. Let's just go in and see what it's like if we go like this. Okay, we're in. So this one plays with the other joystick, the right joystick. I am the white dragon snake that's on the side of the screen. What was different about this compared to the other games we've seen similar to Pac-Man style games is you had the ability to shoot. Where is my shot? There it is. So I have 1 shot, and then I also have the ability to switch the gates in the game. Where is it? You can only shoot 1 shot at a time. So control-wise, I'm very thankful that the Arcadia 2001 is letting me use the joystick. We played too many games where we cannot use we've been using the number pad for different things. But already it is actually an all right faithful port to what the arcade had. I need to pick up a way to shoot. There we go. You blow them up from the back, and then you can destroy the entire snake. It doesn't look the same, because I remember in the arcade you were able to destroy the segments of the snake, but this one doesn't look like that. So yeah, they did take some liberties. It's not exact. It also doesn't look exact, but it still does the game justice. It's essentially we're playing Pac-Man or a top-down maze game and a snake game, where we're increasing our length by eating different segments. And this home version has lots of different options besides the main one. You're going around, you can shoot as the snake, you're trying to destroy the other snake on the screen, and eat them. But if he gets the head of your snake, then you get destroyed just like that. The top of the screen, we've seen this with a few Arcadia games. Notice that it's showing my lives, and they're moving in the direction that I move. So if I move to the left, my lives move to the left. If I move down, my lives move down. That's pretty quaint. But I like the control for all the games you could play on home consoles right now. This one is performing very well. And the idea of this is great to blend two different genres of game together and be able to shoot is really, really fun. This game is single player only, so there is no multiplayer modes. What you see is what you get for being able to play with one person at a time. Make sure that joystick's plugged into Joyport 2. This marks the 144th Pac-Man variant or clone that we've seen so far on Chronologically Gaming. It is definitely Pac-Man fever, and I am sweating because I have Pac-Man fever. We played too many Pac-Mans. This one is the combination of an arcade maze game and an arcade snake game. And it's the 7th time we've seen a variant or a copy of Jungler, which is essentially, you know, putting the two ideas together. Let's do a snake game and a Pac-Man game. And that includes Jungler. We've seen games like Caterpillar, Nibbler, Serpentine, and then another one on the VIC-20 called Super Chomper that was really not like Jungler, but it did combine both a snake game and a Pac-Man-ish game. It just didn't have like a true maze at the top. Die. You only get a few shots, though. Very interesting. This is the first time this game was officially brought home and the official Jungler that's been on home console. So after all those variants and clones of blending the two genres, this is the first real Jungler brought to us by Konami. Let's see if I can blow, shoot. Oh, I missed it. You got to be able to stun and then destroy. It has the stage select and variations and modes. It has that classic arcade gameplay loop. Let's go in again with a different option. Let's go with a different maze. Switch it to game 2. Change the color up as well. So this one, because there's not too many variants and clones of Jungler per se, mixing two together, it's a little more rare to play this one, but it does play well, and it is fun. Destroy. There we go, got him. Sound design, I don't know if I can give this one the nod to sound. We've seen some really good sound effects on like the Atari 2600, and right now there's console video games talking to you, like the IntelliVoice or the voice that's on the Magnavox Odyssey 2. There he is, and get him. Awesome. So this one is on an 8 kilobyte cartridge, 8 kilopower. Some of the differences between this version and the arcade version, and the coin-op version, firing doesn't require a direction. So in other words, I was saying that the shot wasn't working. You have to move the joystick in the direction you're going before you can fire. If you aren't moving in that direction, then you won't fire. See, if I try pushing the fire button, it doesn't work. I have to be moving in that direction and then doing the fire. So in one regard, you could say it's a plus, but some people would say it's not a plus. It depends on your preference. In the coin-op version of this game, the tail segment also has special imagery, and it doesn't happen in this. They kind of took that one away. The coin-op version, the torso animates of your snake when you're moving, but this one is animating constantly as you play the game. Also, you can shoot the head only in the coin-op version, but in this one, you have to shoot the tail to kill it. So in the this conversion, it's not possible. There's just only head-on destruction of the snake. So it makes it a little bit different than the arcade. It's not a one-to-one, but as the first port of Jungler, all these differences really don't make that big a deal. It's still a fun time. Also in the coin-op version, head-on collisions with a new snake of equal length will kill the enemy snake. And in the coin-op version, the longer enemy snakes have red torsos and tails, but in here, the long snakes have black torsos and tails, so they just change the colors up. In the coin-op version, the short enemy snakes have green torsos, and then also in the coin-op, bullets will pass through heads and torsos of snakes. But in this one, they do not. You have to get behind the enemy to attack it, and then move on to the next one. Check out the next game mode here, and then reset to go play in. And go. Also, there are 3 enemy snakes in the coin-op version. The most you can have in this one is 1 or 2, depending on what option you have. So the difficulty in the arcade, they can have more snakes on screen than in the other one. At this point, some of the best arcade maze games that you could play on home consoles and Pac-Man style games that you could play on home consoles would be games like Auto Chase and Crazy Chewy or Crazy Chicky that's available on the Creativision. There's also Incredible Wizard, which is essentially Wizard of War on the Astrocade. Casey Munchkin and Casey's Crazy Chase are out there that this one is competing with. We also have Ladybug and Mousetrap on ColecoVision. Clean Sweeps available on the Vectrex. Lock and Chase is on the Intellivision. And Night Stalker on the Intellivision. So here on the Arcadia, I would say this is not as good as Cat Tracks that we've already seen. It's like what you consider the killer app of the Arcadia, but it's also not as good as Turtles or Turpin that we've seen up to this point. And I would say this is definitely better than Nibbleman, Super Gobbler, and Crazy Gobbler. So of all the games you could be playing on home consoles, this one, in my opinion, would be slightly above average for all the games that you could be playing, just slightly. And again, it's those game variations and modes, and because this style of game is a little bit more rare to see, combining both the Snake and Pac-Man style games. So there you go. That's a taste of Jungler. So what would you think? It's December 1982. For Christmas, you get this game. Maybe you go to a friend's house who has the game. What would you give this game based on all the other video games you could be playing on all other home consoles right now? If you say this is broken of all the games you could play, you'd be rating this somewhere around the 1-star range. If you think this is bad on all the games on all home consoles, you'd rate this somewhere on the 2-star range. If this is fairly average for all the video games right now on home consoles, it's somewhere around the 3-star range. And anything that's really good, an excellent video game, or above average would be here around the 4-star range. But if this is the best game that you could play on all home consoles, then you rate this somewhere on the 5-star range. I'm getting mostly averages over in the chat. 3 from James and Brian, and then a Marshall saying 3.5 stars. I'm actually going with 3.5. I'm going to call this one above average for all the games you could play across all home consoles, because this kind of game and the features it has, and because it's the first port, it's a little bit more original, and it actually works. It works very, very well. There you go. Brad throwing out 3 stars as well. Still somewhere around the average range for everything up to this point. All right, after that, let's see what our next game is. We're next going to play on the TRS-80. This is Leaper. And if you see by the commercial on the left side, you know exactly what Leaper is all about. Let's take a look at the box. This one is only available for the TRS-80, Model 1 or Model 3, the 147th game we've seen on this computer. And this box is what I'd expect to see when I see a computer video game box. They just show you a picture of the game and then tell you some information down at the bottom. It's adventurous and challenging graphics computer game. You maneuver a leaping frog through streets of heavy traffic and speeding cars. It's like they're explaining to us like we don't know what Frogger is, but we know exactly what it is. Its machine language is joystick compatible, and down at the bottom, it's by Cedar Software. This is the first game and only game that Cedar Software ever did. If you worked for Cedar Software, drop me a line and let me know if you did anything else, because I think this is the only one we'll ever see. Let's flip it over the back. When it's your turn, your score will flash. It shows you the points. So not too flashy, but yeah, we're going to be controlling frogs, so we know exactly what this game's all about. Do we have any other artwork for Leaper? Besides the box, we have the inside instructions. Yeah, there we go. Model 1 or Model 3. Leaper's designed to be a 2-player competition or 1-player entertainment. And what they mean is it's arcade hot seat multiplayer. You can play with a friend like in the arcade, but you're really not playing at the same time. After the game's loaded, the instructions are here. The object is to score as many points as possible. I haven't heard that one before. By maneuvering the frog through the traffic and river to the safe black pocket at the top of the screen. They call it a black pocket instead of a home because I guess it's just black. And when they're all filled, then you go to the next screen. And so it shows us we can use keyboard commands or joystick. And then if you want to do the sound effects, make sure you have it plugged in the correct audio and get your volume up. There's the cassette tape on the TRS-80. And Brian's bringing up Toter in the chat. Yeah, we've seen so many Frogger variants. Everyone tell me what Frogger variant you remember out of all the Frogger variants we've seen up to this point. There is quite a bit. And there's the example of the screenshot. We know what we're getting into. It's time to play Leaper by John D., which I don't want to mispronounce your name, published by Cedar Software at the beginning of December 1982. And I bet we just have to type Leaper, right? Let's go. This is the very first time we've seen any game by John Duragnacourt, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. The player controls a frog who has to cross a busy highway avoiding cars and trucks. They have to cross a raging river, jumping logs and lily pads. The goal is a place where all frogs at their home at the top of the screen, at which point the player progresses to a more difficult challenge. Essentially, I'm describing Frogger. That's exactly what this is. All right, let's see some instructions. Press enter. There it is, yes. Dodge the cars, shows us all our point values. Program will work with joysticks, and that's what I like to hear is too. Joystick controls, yes. Oh yeah, Marcel's bringing up the tape speed. That's right. All right, so there's a log, just so you know. Everyone it helps you with the graphics. That's what the lily pads are. Okay, got it. That's the vehicles. Really? Are you sure? That's the frog? All right, all right, I guess that's the frog. Oh, a crocodile. That's what a crocodile is. And there's the snake. Okay, I think I got it. All right, so if you do 2 players, you don't get to play at the same time. I'm going to do a 1-player game. Let's get that joystick to work. Oh, and the joystick does work. I'm already at the bottom of the screen, making my way to the top, and I can barely make out the lily pads. Okay, I can see now. There's the lily pads, the logs are black, and then I need to go into the black space? Yes. The black space is my house. It's classic. It's Frogger. It's a ripoff. It's not the first one we've ever seen, but it performs very well for Frogger-style games, and considering I've recently been playing Frogger in the arcade a lot, and Frogger on the Atari 2600, this is well done, at least gameplay-wise. As far as, graphics, we've already seen the official Frogger on the TRS-80. I would give that one the nod. It has even music that comes with it. All we got is a few blips and bloops for sound effects. And then someone brought up, no, Russell, it didn't say Big 5. They said this was Cedar Software. We've already seen the Big 5 software video games. And then after Bill Hogue left and did Miner 2049er, we're in that era of gaming right now. This is the 36th video game that features frogs, or where the frog is the protagonist. So far, has the classic arcade gameplay loop. We just keep on going after we give these frogs their home and keep playing. The control's awesome. Even though you're not able to see as much, you got to use your imagination. It's very well done in the control department. So this one is, at this point, we've seen 10 video games that are in the official Frogger series. That's how many Frogger games we've seen that are official at this point. This is the 39th variant or clone of Frogger. That's not official Frogger. And I mentioned in the chat, if you're here for the live show and you remember all the other Frogger variants or which ones were your favorite, put those in the live chat of all the other, some of the other Frogger variants we've seen up to this point. This is the 33rd clone of Frogger on all home computers that we've seen so far. And on the TRS-80 alone, this is the 3rd variant of Frogger we've seen on this computer, after Chicken and Frog Race. This one also looks a little bit more like the arcades because it's all on one screen. It's not doing the flip screen like we saw with the official Frogger. You know, they did the road on one screen, you move to the top, and then it flips to the next screen, and you do the river area next. This one's all on the same screen, so it feels more like closer to the arcade. This is great. There are so many names, though, of other Frogger games. We had Croaker, we had Hopper, and now we have Leaper. And surprisingly, we haven't seen another video game called Leaper after all those Frogger clones. Well, this is great. All right, yeah, so we don't need to see any more. Frogger on the, Leaper on the TRS-80. See, they're already getting me. On the TRS-80 is very, very well done. Of all the video games you could play across all home computers, This is at least an average video game. I would even say maybe 3.5 stars for all the games you could play. And the thing is the play control. That's what makes it work. And it is true if there's not music or a lot of sound effects that go along with it, but it works really good for a Frogger-like game. Because we've seen so many Froggers, though, that was what dilutes this when you think of everything you could play on all home computers. So I'm actually going to defer to the chat. Would you say this is a 3-star game on all home computers or a 3.5-star game? Would you want to bump this up to a slightly above average? And James is going 3 stars. Oh, yeah, and the emulation, right. Brian's actually saying 3.5. Brad's saying 3. Mostly averages I'm seeing from the chat. So because it's a clone, that's the other thing, too. If it's not official and it's not done by the people who originally had the idea, then it doesn't get high marks. We love to see video games that are original and new or different. But I'm going to have to go with defer to the chat. We're going to go 3 stars. For a Leaper, a very noble attempt, a very average video game. Let's see what our next game is. We're still going to play some more on the TRS-80. Our next game is Martian Patrol. Let's check it out together. I don't have a lot of artwork for this one. I only found some screenshots, so we're just going to pop in that cassette to play Martian Patrol by Rick Maurice, published by Melbourne House Software in the beginning of December 1982. We're back again. I don't remember what this one is to load. Let's find out. This one, again, is only on the TRS-80. It's the 148th game we've played on the Model 1 or Model 2. Oh, it's MartPat. Of course. That's right, Powpuck. We're going to Mars. MartPat. This one's the 6th time we've seen Melbourne House Software doing games like Strike Force and Penetrator. And the 2nd time we've seen Rick Maurice after Turbo 2000. I have high hopes for this game after the rest of the games we've seen by these people. This one's awesome. You ready? Do you realize what we're seeing right now? I'll give the live chat a chance to feast their eyes on the amazingness. This is just the startup screen, by the way, for Martian Patrol. Look at that. It's giving pseudo-parallax scrolling. Yes, Russell, it is Moon Patrol. This is the first variant of Moon Patrol we've ever seen on Chronologically Gaming. We last saw it in the arcades, the official Moon Patrol, June 1982. So this is the first ripoff or copy of Moon Patrol. And here it is on the TRS-80. Here's the instructions of how you play. Explore the Martian surface using the Martian rover vehicle. We have craters, rocks, landmines, and Martian air attacks that come after us. Our controls are keyboard controls or joystick controlled, once again. And if you want to amplify sound, make sure you connect that auxiliary plug. All right, so this one, I'm just going to go right into it. We can press... I'll look down at the bottom right here. It's telling us that if we want to see the high score table, we can. It also tells us if we want to print out the high score table. Yes, it's a permanent high score table. If you want to print this out and show all your friends on the playground, you can with Martian Patrol. That's such a plus. And there it is. There's the high score table right now. We have to make sure we take out Leone. All right, ready? Let's go in. Sector A. Oh, I love it already. Sound's already there too. All right, what do we got? Up for jump. Okay, we got our shot. If I hold the shot down, it continues to fire. You have moving left and right. Look at that. They're doing a pseudo-parallax scrolling in the background. That's so cool. And control is pretty good. Oh, down's for your shield. Very nice. I think I've already blown that shield, though. Let's see. Stop using the shield. I gotta be careful when I use the joystick. But yeah, it's responding and playing well. Very, very nicely done. Seeing the starfield slowly scroll in the background and then the mountains scroll faster. We got enemies coming over the top. Wow. So obviously we don't get a lot of music for the game, just some blips and bloops for the sound effects. We have seen synthetic or voice synthesis on the TRS-80, and we've also seen, I mean, think of like games like Sea Dragon that's out there that has the video game talking to us, but there's still not a lot of music. We saw some of the most music on the official Frogger when it was on the TRS-80. That's right. Some of these games on the TRS-80, Brad, you have to back up away from the screen, like look at it from about 45 feet away, and then you understand it. Then you're like, oh, that's where the rock is. Got it. Oh, so that's a radar on the top that's spinning around. Ah, I see. It's only December 1982. We're still using our imagination for quite a bit of video games. They don't tell us and give us everything. TRS-80 was where we originally saw the Dungeon Quest series of role-playing games, where you were represented by 3 pixels your character was on screen. Oh, they're dropping stuff down. Oh, they have explosions for those mines now? Nice. So this game is a combination of 2 different style of games. This is a scrolling shoot 'em up, the 182nd scrolling shoot 'em up we've seen on Chronologically Gaming. This is the 112th scrolling shoot 'em up we've seen on all home computers so far, and it's the 9th we've seen that we've played on the TRS-80. Games like Defend, The Eliminator, Rear Guard, Sea Dragon, and Bosk 1 Alert. This is also an auto-run platformer because I'm moving and jumping. It's the 12th auto-run platformer we've seen on Chronologically Gaming. Things like Jump Bug that we saw in the arcades, Jungle King or Hunt or Pirate Pete, and Pogo Man on the Atari home computer. Those are auto-run platformers, or Aztec Challenge is another really good one. So this one relies both on let's shoot stuff and let's do an auto run with the platforming. So Moon Patrol, I already really enjoyed it when we saw it in the arcades. As the first variant we've ever seen, I honestly have no complaints. This one is exactly what I would expect a clone of Moon Patrol to be at home. Martian Patrol is doing it. The background is not derivative though. Look at that. They have something in the background too. And the size of the background's playing. And also notice that it's increasing with sector. So we're doing what Scramble did originally. We're playing level by level. Oh, they blew a small hole in the ground. And look how it's saving the checkpoint. After I died, I continue at sector D where I left off. Whoa, is this the volcano? Okay, I thought it was the volcano blowing up in the background. Use your imagination, kids. So much fun. The digital joystick being able to use on a home computer is always a plus. I give higher ranking for video games that allow that. And of course, there's plenty of video games that have keyboard controlled only. Whoa, am I supposed to jump every single one of these little ones? Oh yeah, we're in Sector E now. Yeah, it's getting harder. This one is single player only. There is no multiplayer options, but the high score table that you're able to print out is awesome. I love that. I'd like to know where it's saving my position. Oh, I forgot about the shield. That's what we got to do. Let's use that shield. This also has turbo fire. If I hold down the fire button, it's going to continue to fire off. Can I walk through? Yeah, I can drive through stuff with my shield on. Nice. I don't know how long it's going to last, though. I can still blow them up. Oh, gosh, this is crazy. Can I use a shield again? Yes. There's so many enemies at the top. It feels like I'm making the TRS-80 chug. But I'm enjoying it. I'm having a fun time. We made it to Sector F, and it's changing the background again. Wow, so cool. It's yet another video game where we're using up to jump, which I was hoping wasn't going to become a trend, but now we've seen more and more video games where up is jump. They need to take the cue from Mario. Mario was one of the first jumpers, and he has a button to jump. Everyone should be following that. Oh, we're going faster now. Whoa. This is so fun. This is also the 9th video game where we're playing on Mars, or the setting is Mars. And I'm really excited for when we get to Doom and get to play on Mars. It's 2D auto-scrolling. And the parallax scrolling, or the faux parallax scrolling, is a really nice touch. This is so good. All right. There you go. Martian Patrol. I want to keep going. I want to see the end. Lots and lots of fun. And surprising that we couldn't find a lot of artwork for this one. It reminds me of one of the classic Big Five software games, but no, this is not by Big Five software. So this one was done by Melbourne House Software and Rick Maurice. Of all the video games you could be playing on home computers, I don't even want to say this is average because of how rare it is to play a Moon Patrol game. Looking over in the chat, most people are going 3.5. Oh yeah, James was noticing the hit detection, but honestly, I can't fault it because on the TRS-80, with the flicker on the screen, depending on what model you're playing on, that can be a factor. Brian's going 4 stars. Very nice. Most people are throwing out 3.5 stars. I'm actually thinking between 3.5 to 4 stars of all the games you could play across all home computers. And no way, there's a Chiptune Chronicles in the chat. Welcome, Chiptune. Yeah, 3.5 of all the games on all home computers. It's great. That's right, and it is on the TRS-80. The trinity of computers, the first 3 that we saw on the channel, the big ones, you know, the Commodore PET, TRS-80, and Apple II. I'm surprised. I actually didn't know as much about the TRS-80, and I've come to love the TRS-80 more than I thought I would. I thought I was going to be an Apple II person the whole time, but these are the kind of games that I love it. Yeah, if it was TRS-80 only, I would say 4 or 4.5. I think I'm going to go 3.5 stars. Above average of all the games you could play across all home computers. It is very, very well done. Yeah, that's true. Across all home computers, I have to bring it down just a little bit. All right, so after that, what could possibly be next? Oh, here we go. Another home computer on the Sinclair ZX81. This is Maze Man, the 95th game we've seen on the Sinclair ZX81. Let's take a look at the box. Oh man, this has a lot to be desired. It's Abersoft. Remember Abersoft? They were the first video game we ever saw for the Sinclair ZX Spectrum, or made the first video game we ever saw. So this is the second game we've seen by Abersoft after Adventure 1 that was on the ZX Spectrum. And Maze Man, I can kind of figure out what this one's going to be about. You most likely saw this box the very first time that you saw Maze Man, if ever you saw a Maze Man. Here in December 1982, there's the cassette for Maze Man. And the first cassette for Maze Man that you probably saw. Only needs 16K to play this game. That's a game, with the example of a screenshot, right? All right, yes, it does kind of look like a freaky looking blob. All right, let's pop in and play Maze Man by Abersoft, released in the beginning of December 1982. Ready, set, what game are we going to play? Well, first we got to run it. Show us how to play Maze Man. I'm ready. There's the points. Oh, so we're at asterisk. I think we've been in asterisk before, but you pick up the plus and you become a plus, and they all turn into B's, and you can take them out. All right, press any key to start. I'm ready. I am the plus. Moving around the screen, it is once again another top-down maze game. This marks the 338th arcade maze game that we played on Chronologically Gaming, the 188th that we played on all home computers so far, and the 8th one that we played on the Sinclair ZX81. The Sinclair ZX81 has no sound. No one can hear you scream, so don't adjust your audio. As we go around, there is no fun, fancy music. This is like you in the United Kingdom with the budget computer, or if you're in the United States with the Timex Sinclair 1000. You're the kid at the playground that everybody laughed at because they were playing on the Apple II or the Atari home computer while you had this little calculator. The control's interesting. It's keyboard controlled only. I'm using the cursor keys 5, 6, 7, and 8 to move around. But whenever I pick a place to go, it just goes. So if I go, for example, if I go down and push down, it just keeps going down. If I go to the right, it just keeps going to the right or to the left. So it's almost like I have a drift, a cursor key drift on my keyboard. But the ZX81 had that membrane keyboard, so I can't really fault the controls. Still an interesting, quaint little time. It's obviously we're playing Pac-Man, everyone, and it's the 145th Pac-Man clone we've played on Chronologically Gaming. Dun da da da. We're almost to 150 clones, and that's not going to stop us. If you are wondering if there's more mazes or screens, there is not. This is the same maze every single time. So whenever you complete the next one, you just keep going for the high score. It does save a temporary high score for you in the top right of the screen. And yes, you might have a good time with this. The keyboard controlled only is really what brings this down, because in a way you could call this pretty average for the games that you would be playing right now in December 1982. But there's so many Pac-Man clones out there. There's so many on all the other home computers. They have ripped off so much Pac-Man. Of all the arcade maze games that we've seen on the Sinclair ZX81, all of them have been Pac-Man style games, except Sabotage. Sabotage actually was a top-down maze game that was trying to do something different. But we've played the game of Puckman, Monster Mine, Zuckman, Gobbleman, Ghost Hunt, and Gulpman. All those games we played on the Sinclair ZX81. So if you're looking at this thinking, those are ASCII characters. You're just moving, text around the screen. We played a lot. That's what you played for video games right now. ASCII or text mode characters. We're going to see this one later on the Sinclair ZX Spectrum and the Computer's Lynx. Will we be playing games on the Computer's Lynx here on Chronologically Gaming? You'll have to tune in to find out. But this is the first time you would have played this one. I would give this one still about the average range for all the games you could play on home computers. The control's okay, but if it was joystick controlled, I'd give it higher marks. I'd give this about the same rating as Ghost Hunt that we played on the Sinclair ZX81 and Gobbleman and Zuckman. So with that, I say, Maze Man, you are a 2.5-star game of all the games you could play. Looking over in the chat, who's a fan of Maze Man? We still have Pac-Man fever. We still enjoy playing games like this, but yes, it is very much an average video game. Brian's saying 1.5 stars. Yeah, 2.5 from Brad. That's what I think. 2.5, meh. James is saying 2. If you say 2 stars means you're considering this a bad game of all the games you could play right now. And Marshall's saying 2 as well. I'll say 2.5. Same level as Ghost Hunt, Gobbleman, and Zuckman. And Chiptune's saying a negative 9.5. That means you really think this game's broken. And if you were in December 1982 and you only had this computer, then you would have loved and cherished Maze Man. Maybe there's someone out there that loves and cherished Maze Man too. All right, with that, let's see what our next video game release is. All right, he's back. It's Q*bert. Not what you'd expect for Q*bert, though. This is Mello Yello Q*bert, released in the arcades. Let's take a look at the artwork. That's right, Mello Yello Q*bert. We've just seen Q*bert in the arcades. October 1982 is when we saw him. Mello Yello Q*bert is a rare variant of the arcade version of Q*bert, released right now. The only ever given away in a sweepstakes, and this is one of the rarest arcade games of all time. The gameplay is almost identical to the original Q*bert, but with some intermissions added after a few levels, just like Pac-Man has. These show Q*bert drinking a can of Mello Yello while slurping sound effects play. And the title screen is also changed. This game is only available in the arcades. It's the 603rd arcade game we've seen thus far, and the 5th time we've seen Gottlieb. After New York, No Man's Land, Reactor, and the original Q*bert. And the artwork I have for this one is mostly Q*bert, but now we get product placement Q*bert? That's just so bizarre. I mean, Mello Yello is a brand name, and they're going to show the trademark, I believe. But if you forgot already, Q*bert had the arcade control panel with a 4-way joystick at a diagonal or a slant, because this is an isometric view of a video game where you're jumping and platforming around. But essentially, we're just going to play Q*bert again with a Mello Yello theme. And this is the first time. Let's go to the arcades and play Q*bert again by Gottlieb in the beginning of December 1982. Yes, talk to us, Q*bert. I'm ready. Everything here looks the same, except they changed the title screen to Mello Yello Q*bert. So if you tuned into us playing Q*bert whenever he was, for the first time released, this is the exact same thing. He's still cursing up a storm. All right, I want to see him drink, so let's go, Q*bert. Ready, and hit it. Got level 1. Nice. Just got to clear the path all the way. Oh, no you don't. Yes, he does. You get to continue right where you left off, which is really nice. All right, I got to focus and think diagonally. Nope. Always have to turn the joystick the wrong way. In the arcades, whenever I play Q*bert, it always is better because the 4-way joystick is aligned the right way. When Q*bert comes home, it always changes up and just doesn't seem the same. All right, here we go. We've played over 3,500 video games, and of the 3,500, this is the very first adver game we've ever played, an advertisement video game or product placement in the game. And which kind of surprises me. I think we should have already seen a video game advertised like this, but we haven't. This is the first. There we go. So level 1's done. Did we get a cutscene after level 1? I have the sudden urge to drink me some Mello Yello. That's right. Come this way, Slinky boy. Oh, he's not. He didn't take the bait. All right, now we're looking good. I'm thinking isometrically. Go, go, go. There it is. Do we get to drink Mello Yello now? Oh my gosh, he actually does. Cubert doesn't need a straw, though. He already has a natural schnoz straw. I won't do too much more gameplay of Cubert because it's basically the same thing. Mello Yello Cubert is the exact same game. You're not going to get too flashy after that. I know, right? And Chiptune's bringing up the Purina Dog Chow game. Oh gosh, yes. It's out there. So there you go. Mello Yello Cubert. It is a thing. It is a game. Of all the games you could play in the arcades, I gave Cubert originally 5 stars. Of all the games you could play right now, it is still special, iconic. Mello Yello Cubert, though, I don't know if I want to give that one the same rating. Cubert deserves the 5-star rating. Mello Yello Cubert makes me think of us just slipping the advertising into video games, and I don't want it to be slipped into video games. So I'm looking over in the chat. Jeremiah's still saying 5 stars of everything. Chiptune's saying 4.5. Brad, 4.5. Yeah, that's true. I won't say 5. Let's say 4.5 stars for Mello Yello Cubert, and we'll keep the 5 stars for Cubert of all the video games you could play in the arcades right now. All right, no more advertisement games. Everyone hear me? Tapper, I know we haven't seen you yet, but when you do come out, no advertising for that either. All right, let's see what our next game is. From one home computer to another, we're hopping all over the place. Our next video game release is Millipede. But don't get too excited. It's not official Millipede on the Commodore VIC-20. This Millipede, all I have is some screenshots. So let's pop in Millipede and play by Online Software, released in the beginning of December 1982. Millipede. That's right. We're not going to wait for this to load. I'm going to fast forward right on through. Go, go, go. There it is. Online Software. Not to be confused with Sierra Online. This is a completely different game. Online Software, this was the first game we've ever seen by Online Software. And they're allowing us to do joysticks. So yes, I want joystick. Let's play this. We originally saw Centipede in July 1981 on the in the arcades. And official Centipede is on the Atari home computer that we saw in June 1982. That's still the only 2 official Centipede games. Millipede we saw in the arcades in November 1982. So just last month we saw Millipede. So this is a clone of the arcade game that we just saw last month. Some developer got right to work using the Petsky graphics. Did I just get away with shooting the... I think I learned the cheat for the game. Oh, okay, they got it. They got rid of it. Whoa, and the flashing is all over the place. Yes, Petsky to save RAM. Sorry, chump, you lose. Yes, I will play again. Let's do it. Control has the same turbo control. I got a little freedom to move around just like in Centipede. Surprisingly, while the character, or the diamond at the bottom that's moving around, seems a little bit jerky, like tile-based, the shot feels pretty smooth. Also, notice how they're letting me destroy the environment, and the environment changes pesky characters, which is a really nice touch. I like that. So even though this is playing closer to Centipede, it actually is doing a little bit of some of the elements of Millipede. This is the very first time we've ever played a video game that's called Millipede, that's not official port, like a variant of Millipede after Millipede was released. So this is the very first time. This is the 334th game we've played on the Commodore VIC-20 thus far. The Commodore 64 is out, and the VIC-20 is still cooking with lots and lots of games. Now, does it change color? It does not. It just keeps going repeat ad nauseum. This one is the 410th fixed shooter that we played on Chronologically Gaming. Oh, that giant UFO on the screen, that's pretty cool. It's the 239th fixed shooter we played on all home computers so far, and it's the 59th fixed shooter that we've played on the Commodore VIC-20. We have been shooting quite a bit, and we are going to still continue to be shooting. So cool. This one's the 35th variant of Centipede we've seen so far, and I'm not going to call this a variant of Millipede. I'm just going to keep calling them variants of Centipede because they did it first. This is the 10th time we played a variant of Centipede on the Commodore VIC-20, after Arachnoid, Exterminator, Grid Runner, Nightcrawler, Ant Raiders, Video Vermin, Cosmic Snake, Scorpion, and Swarm. Lots of Centipede, and I would say this is all right. This is pretty good. Of all the video games you could play on all home computers, the Petsky graphics and the joystick control is what kind of sets this apart, but it's still fairly average for all the video games you could play on all home computers. And considering all the Centipede games we played, I mean, on the Commodore VIC-20 alone, I'm going to rate this around the same of the other ones we've seen so far. Yeah, right? The only reason, Brad, I'd go 3.5 stars is because it's the first Millipede variant. But in a way, this may be called Millipede, and they may have never played Millipede in the arcade. They just picked another bug, and it just happened to be the same as the arcade. So I'll say 3 stars. Of all the games you could play across all home computers, it's still pretty average. Lots and lots of games to play, but that is not all. Millipede is also available on the Commodore PET, and let's see what this one's all about. Another video game I don't have any artwork for or box. Where we're going, we don't need boxes. Let's pop it and play Millipede for the Commodore PET by Online Software, released in the beginning of December 1982. Are you ready for Millipede again? This one is the 73rd game we've played for the Commodore PET. At this point, there was lots of models for the Commodore PET, very similar to the Apple II. And so I think this one, we had to play on a specific model to allow this to work. But look what they're showing. They're showing like the original Commodore PET, and the control scheme is Z to move left, and they're showing what the keyboard looks like. C to move right, and then look over on the right side. You have to use the star to move up, the plus to move down, and then the number 2 on the number pad to fire a bullet. If you've ever seen the Commodore PET, the original 2001 series of Commodore PETs, they're really, really tiny keyboards. So imagine playing this all scrunched in on the tiny keyboard to play this. All right, here we go. Yeah, Commodore PET still getting love. It's the 411th shoot 'em up we've seen on Chronologically Gaming, the 240th on home computers. Look at that. Oh, look at that. This is awesome. And the 6th fixed shooter that we've played on the Commodore PET so far. This is the 36th variant of Centipede that we've seen so far. Why is this version more charming? Why do I feel like I'm enjoying this more than the Commodore VIC-20 version? That's so weird. It's the same Petsky graphics, but maybe it's because I'm comparing it to the other games we played on the Commodore PET, and this just feels very impressive and fun. But I don't have joystick control. I'm controlling this with the keyboard, and the Commodore VIC-20, I was able to use the digital joystick. So, I don't know, feeling your hands scrunched around the keyboard playing this would be very, very difficult. But, I mean, look at this. This is, I don't know why. I can't describe why this is slightly more fun than playing it on the Commodore VIC-20. It's doing something for me, but I'm not sure what it is. This is the very first time we've seen a Centipede variant on the Commodore PET. While the Commodore VIC-20 had 10 of them, this one is the very first time. Hey, there it is. Sorry, chump. You lose. Do you want to play again? Yes, I do. This is one you can play over and over and over again. Very, very well done. Yeah, see, I don't know if it's smoother or not. I think it's just because it's more impressive seeing this running on the Commodore PET. Baked in the green glow, depending on what monitor you had. It's so fun. So yeah, this one, in a way, I want to say 3.5 stars, but it's just because I'm thinking of the Commodore PET only. If we were saying only for the Commodore PET, this would be a 3.5 or 4-star game for everything you could play right now on the Commodore PET. But because we're rating this against every other home computer out there, I'm probably going to say the same. Yeah. And the sounds. Love it. And yeah, I'm going to say same as the VIC-20. I do want to rate it higher, but yeah, it's got to be the same. That is awesome. Well done. The Commodore PET is still giving out games. The first 3 computers, the Commodore PET, the TRS-80, and the Apple II, we're still getting games for those systems, and it's great seeing video games that I didn't know were out right now. So keep it coming. Keep it coming. We'll say 3 stars for all the games you could play. And Brian saying 3 for all higher. Yeah, right. We'll still say 3 stars for all the games you could play across all home computers. This millipede is still average, but I did have a great time playing it. And average doesn't mean bad. It means you're still having a fun time. But there's a lot of games that it has to compete with on all those home computers out there. And so much fun. All right, that's where we got to put our video game playing on pause. Seeing video games all over the world on all home computers, and no video game left behind. I really appreciate everyone that's here live on the show in December 1982 with me, rating the games, commenting on the games. It's been so much fun. Next time on Chronologically Gaming, more new game releases for the Arcadia home console. And let's go to the arcade, not to play a Donkey Kong variant, but a Donkey Kong Jr. variant. That's it for today, and like I always say, if Mello Yello is already in video games, then get ready for entire commercials in video games. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.